You ever wake up one morning and realize the world's a little dumber than you thought? That was me, right before my first cup of coffee, standing on my porch with the kind of mountain air that'll slap you awake harder than any alarm. I'm talking skin stinging, cold birds still half asleep. Everything just dead quiet, except for this cheap piece of paper flapping under my welcome mat like it had something important to say. Now, if you're picturing a mailbox and a friendly mailman, think again. Out here, you don't get mail. You get weather and maybe the odd elk if you leave your trash out. But that paper, something about it felt off. Not just the way it hid, but the way it waited. You ever get that? Like a prank, waiting to see if you'll slip. So naturally, I squat down and yank it out, already bracing myself for some new county fire rule, or maybe a lost pizza menu from town. But no, right at the top, bold as hell, it reads Aspen Hills HOA Service Expansion Notice. And there's a logo. You know, the kind someone whips up in 5 minutes on the internet mountain tree font that screams, "Trust me, I'm official." I'm staring at this thing and it claims, "Get this, that my land is now part of their HOA and I owe almost $800 a month for community services." I almost snorted hot coffee out my nose. See, my cabin's on land, deeded before most people around here even learned to drive. No neighbors, no roads, but my own, just me trees, and more sky than I could ever use. And now some show A 15 miles downhill wants to annex me. Yeah, sure. You might laugh, but out here, you learn real quick when something stinks. So instead of getting mad, I do what Marines do best. I make a record. I lay that letter out on the table, pour a fresh cup, and pull out the big box. Every deed survey, GPS map, right down to the napkin the notary used. That land, it's mine. The only boundary line is the tree line. I make copies, write a nice no thank you letter, polite, but not too polite, and stick every legal scrap I have in there. I drive it down to the post office, spend 10 minutes explaining to the clerk why I'm mailing a certified letter to an HOA that doesn't exist up here, and then head home figuring that's the end of it. Except a week later, that letter comes back. Red stamp address, unknown. Their website. Just a picture of a mountain, a contact form that doesn't send, and no phone number. No names except one at the bottom of the notice. President Karen Brickwell. No lawyer, no office, nothing. Now, you ever feel a chill that's got nothing to do with the weather? That's what hit me, because I've spent enough time around scams both overseas and stateside to know when something's not just lazy, but deliberate. The sun's going down, everything's turning that gold color. You only get in the mountains, and I'm checking every sensor and camera around my property like I'm back on patrol. Swap out batteries, download the motion feeds, test my body cam, the whole dance. And I'm standing there, this fake letter crumpled in my hand, thinking, you picked the wrong cabin. 2 decades wrangling logistics and jerks with bigger budgets than brains. I wasn't about to get hustled by a couple of clipboard cowboys. Except I was wrong. It wasn't just a scam letter. Next morning, I hear tires on my road real slow, like someone trying to decide if they're lost or just stupid. My drive's gravel private, barely wide enough for a truck. I step out, wiping sap off my hands, and see a gray SUV, clean, too new for this place, and no front plates. The doors have these magnetic signs, Community Enforcement Division. Same tree logo as the letter, only stretched out. And out step two, guys trying hard to look tough. Tan pants, boots, cheap navy jackets, and plastic badges. You could win at the state fair. One's got a stun baton, the other clutches a folder, like he's about to serve the last subpoena of his life. Mr. Brooks Tall, one says. Who's asking? I answer, taking a step forward. He flashes the badge. I almost laugh. We're with Aspen Hills HOA Enforcement. Here for a compliance inspection. And then he pulls out a copy of that fake notice, only now it says, "Final reminder" in red. According to him, I'm a serious violator, and they're authorized to initiate the lien process. Yeah, right. I ask, "You planning on coming onto my property?" The short one puffs up, says, "If I refuse, it's obstruction under section 5 point something of the Aspen Hills Code." I hold up my phone, nice and slow. "That from your coloring book or just the newsletter?" His jaw twitches. "This is a legal matter." "So's impersonation," I shoot back. Then, I double tap my chest body cams rolling. "Smile, boys. You're on candid camera." I make sure to get their faces, those badges, even the paper plate they'd slapped over the real license plate. And then, arms folded, I say, "Unless you got a court order from a judge up here, I'd turn that rental around before you embarrass yourselves." The tall one starts up again. "Mr. Brooks' failure to pay." "Stop." I cut him off. "You're trespassing, threatening, and impersonating. Where I'm from, that's a felony cocktail." The two exchange a look. You could see the bravado starting to melt. Then I add, all casual, "I got a couple buddies coming by. Marines real friendly. Want to stick around?" That did it. The tall guy says there's no need for escalation. "Great." I tell him then, "Wait with me." I turn walk to the door, and inside, I queue up my drone to do a little perimeter flyby. Pour myself a mug, lean on the porch, and watch these clowns sweat. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes luck really is on your side. The diesel rumble of a Suburban rolls up muddy and dented. It's Kale and Rico, old unit brothers, early for a weekend of what we call tactical nostalgia. Their presence alone changes the weather. The fake enforcers go stiff eyes, darting hands fidgeting. Kale nods at me. "Morning, Eli. We're early." Rico stretches, cracks his knuckles. Traffic was light. I introduce them, keeping my tone light, but letting the silence thicken. Kale's got that calm stare, one step closer. Boots crunching on the gravel. "You boys with the sheriff's department?" "Those badges look funny." The short one clears his throat. "We're with Aspen Hills, HOA authorized." Authorized to what Kale asks, never blinking. Trespass on private land. Rico walks behind phone up, filming the whole thing. Keep talking. Love a good story. The folder slips out of the shorter guy's hand. Fake invoices spill everywhere. Kale picks one up, grins. Looks like Monopoly money. The taller guy mutters, "We're leaving." His partner's already sprinting for the woods, crashing through the brush. Rico snorts. Real professionals. Kale plants himself in front of the SUV, arms crossed, not moving. The driver panics, guns it in reverse, and peels out, spraying gravel like confetti at a loser's parade. You ever watch a scammer run? It's not graceful. My drone tracks him all the way to the road, face glowing in the heat, cam streaming footage straight to my cloud. I save every frame print, out their faces, and that night I can't help but laugh. I mean, they really thought this would work. But it wasn't over. I dug up that short guy's face through a vetting app. Turns out he's a disgraced contractor canned for inventory issues. That's a nice way of saying stealing and caught before on a ring cam in another state, threatening a homeowner just like you tried with me. I send everything to the sheriff, even throw in a notarized statement and every scrap of proof. Their response looks like a civil dispute. Try to resolve amicably. Amicably. Right. Because when someone sends armed thugs to your door, amicable is what comes to mind. So I dig deeper. That HOA president from the letter Karen Brickwell, ghost. No record, no filing, no real person except for a revoked tax-exempt status years ago. The website, just a bad form and a photoshopped map now shading my land in like it's always been theirs. That's when it hit me. This wasn't incompetence, this was strategy. Fake documents, fake maps, threats. If I'd been a little older, a little more isolated, maybe I'd have paid up just to make it stop. They wanted to create debt paper over reality, then bully people with fake authority. They just picked the wrong ex-Marine. By the end of the day, everything was documented and sent to a lawyer I know through the Vets Network. Lena Sharp as attack ex-JAG. She takes one look and says, "This is organized fraud, not HOA nonsense." By the next morning, we'd filed cease and desist demands for real documents and an intent to sue for trespass fraud and attempted extortion. Only there's no real HOA, no registered agent, no LLC, nothing but paper and threats. That's when we got a break. Through a little digging, we found Sandra, a former accountant for the HOA. She quit because Karen started sending bills to properties way outside the real boundaries. "If they're near us, they can pay us," Karen said. Sandra begged her to stop, but some people paid anyway, too scared or confused to push back. With Sandra's statement, Lena ramps up. Civil suits, criminal complaints, a big fat file for the Attorney General. Meanwhile, Kale and Ryko cut together all the drone footage, posted it online, and the story caught fire. Suddenly, I'm getting calls from reporters, state reps, other landowners. Turns out I'm not the first target, just the loudest one to fight back. Things got wild after that. Cars with no plates started showing up at the trailhead, sitting for hours, and then vanishing. We wired up a full counter-surveillance grid cameras, lights, backup batteries, everything but a moat. I wasn't playing anymore. The judge agreed and issued an emergency injunction blocking the HOA from coming within a mile of my land. The hearing was quick but sharp. Karen showed up all confidence and legal double talk until the judge read out the list of charges. Fraud mail, fraud attempted extortion, false documents racketeering, video drone footage, signed statements, fake expansion maps, everything tied right to her. Her lawyer tried the misunderstanding defense. Judge didn't buy it for a second. Bail revoked, case sent up for full trial. Karen's name now officially attached to a whole lot of trouble. And more landowners came forward, people who'd paid people who'd been threatened, people who'd had no idea it was all a scam. And you know what? For the first time in weeks, the mountain felt peaceful again. Quiet porch, coffee in hand, drone buzzing, lazy circles overhead. Not a single fake badge in sight. When the case went public, the HOA dissolved overnight. Assets, frozen debts voided. Karen's own property seized for restitution. Lena got a state citation, and me. I got a thank you call from the AG and a new sign on my gate. No HOA, no fraud. No entry. This property was defended. Kale welded it himself. Marine pride, heavy steel. Thing is, I didn't pick this fight. But sometimes you don't get to walk away even if you want to. Sometimes people count on you to hold the line, not for yourself, but so they know it's possible. Because if you don't, who will? Now let me ask you, if someone tried this. Where you live, would you fight or would you fold? Where's the line between letting it slide and standing your ground? Ever been in a situation where you had to push back against people who thought they could steamroll you just because they had a little power or acted like they did? Go ahead, tell me your story. Right and wrong aren't always black and white, but I'm guessing you know what you do when someone tries to take what's yours.